French Iron Tour. We're in the third year and we've had a huge increase in number of stages this year. We had 4 stages back in 1994. Last year there were 6 stages and this year 8 stages. And that man in the picture is undoubtedly the Miguel Indurain of triathlon. That's Simon Lessing. He's won this event on both occasions it's been held, and he certainly goes in today's event, or this year's event, as the favourite. Lessing, the South African, he's British, lives in France. Just come off a win in the World Championships in Cleveland, second consecutive year. He won in Cancun last year. And the opening stage for the first time is a prologue, and we're in the beautiful town of Montpellier. The prologue, well, it comprises an opening 400-meter swim. They have 10 kilometers of biking, and then finally a 2.5 kilometer run to finish. We have 12 teams, something like 100 competitors, and the night before they had a draw to see who would go off first in the time trial, and it was Australian Ben Bright. And this is Bright coming through the picture after the opening 400-meter swim in Lelez, the lake of Lelez. And this is Lessing going. And I have mentioned he has been totally dominant in this race, hasn't been beaten in the previous 2 years. This is Olivier Marceau, who most probably is Lessing's major threat. That's Ralf Egert, the German, going through, finished, what, third in 1995 behind Lessing and the American Mike Pigg. Pigg, in fact, finished second to Lessing in the picture here on the previous 2 occasions, but he's not racing this year. Like Lessing, he is racing on the ITGP, and he feels that he's got to concentrate on that event. Lots of money up for stake, but because Lessing is based in France, he is, well, he's not obligated, but he feels that he should compete here in the Iron Tour. That looked like the young Brit in the picture there. As Lessing now sets off on this second part of the prologue, the 10-kilometer time trial. 30 seconds between them, they went off, and I'm sure Lessing and no doubt some of the others will be passing some of the other competitors. But obviously it's very important in the early stages, just like the Tour de France, that you build up a bit of a lead if you can on the opening prologue, because then you can, well, not quite sit back, but you can certainly sit on your lead throughout the rest of the race. Looks like Stefan Ginka of the Montpellier team going through, a couple of others of his teammates in the picture with him as he goes through. This is Carl Blasco of the Poissy team. That's the same team as Olivier Marceau. Just to let you know, Lessing is actually in the assistant team along with Laurent Jensen. They're the two, I say, oddballs, the foreigners in the team. The rules of the competition are that 4 of each team must be from one nation, and in the assistant team there are 4 Australians, and then Simon Lessing, a Brit, and Laurent Jensen, a French athlete. So this is Olivier Marceau with Lessing now, certainly setting a cracking pace. It looks like Richard Hobson in the background there, but this is Marceau. He really hasn't got any idea of where he stands in terms of overall timing, because they are racing against the clock. This is the race of truth, as it's known in the cycling world. So Lessing goes past another Brit, Richard Hobson, the current long distance champion of Great Britain. Certainly didn't stop for a chat, did he? He just went by. He's doing the business because he knows it's very important to have a very fast time in this opening time trial, the prologue here at Montpellier. So Lessing's now coming up towards the end of the time trial. And it's going to be interesting to see how close he is to Marceau. Looks like Bernard Uve just gone through there with Jean Raoula from the Czech Republic right behind. But this is Marceau coming through. Marceau is through in 29 minutes and 59 seconds. And right behind him, Lessing, he's in 29 minutes and 17 seconds. Hobson comes through the picture. Hobson's well off the pace in the time trial. That's not too surprising though, because he's a long distance specialist. Well, it looks like Jean-Christophe Guichon of the Poissy team has had a bit of a crash on the bike ride. He's got the dreaded road rash, and that doesn't look too friendly. Hopefully he'll be all right and up racing in the second stage, or in fact the first stage after the prologue. So, the man of the moment, he's certainly used to this position in the Iron Tour. Great Britain's assistant, Simon Lessing. 29 minutes and 17 seconds. So he has a bit of a cushion over Marceau going into the second stage. There we are, that is the overall classification of the prologue here in Montpellier. 8 stages this year, and really towns in France are queuing up to be members of this tour. They've gone from 4 to 6 to 8 stages. I don't know if they're going to increase, because it really is a tough event, certainly for the athletes. Well, we move on to Marseille for the first real stage of the competition, and this time it's a sprint distance. That means it's a 750-meter swim, followed by 20 kilometers of biking and 5 kilometers of running to finish in this beautiful town of Marseille, down on the Mediterranean. And of course, back in 88, 89, I think it was, that Marseille hosted the European Championships over the Olympic distance, and if I remember, Rob Burrell won that year. And in fact, Rob Burrell is racing in the event. He is the second oldest competitor. He wears number 31, racing for the Saint-Quentin team. And wearing number 26 is the oldest competitor. Burrell, of course, is 36. The oldest competitor is Jean-Luc Capogna, racing for the Tri-X team. But Burrell, I think, as the series goes on, he will certainly get stronger. Well, we saw last year, for those of you who saw the Eurosport coverage of it, that the great swimmer throughout the 6 stages last year was Vincent Conessa, the French swimmer, and once again he's to the fore, but this time with Laurent Genselm, also of Lessing's assistant team. He wears number 2, and it looks as though Genselm is leading at the moment, with Lessing back in 3rd position and Vincent Conessa in 2nd position. In fact, for some reason, this is Lessing. He's lost his hat, he's lost his goggles. He's obviously had a bit of a tumble with someone during them. They've knocked him off. I think because it's salt water, he would not start the event without goggles. But as he doesn't have a cap either, he must have had some confrontation. So it looks as though Gensel and Conessa are going to fight this one out. No swim prints, but a lot of money up for grabs in this Iron Tour. And this year, in fact, there are 2 cars. Last year, Lessing won 1 car. Well, there are 2 cars up for grabs this year, so that's certainly worth going for. So it looks as though it's Gensel of the assistant team with Vincent Conessa. And Lessing was there in, 4th position. So he's in contention straight away. He's got quite a buffer over those 2 athletes who've gone through. So now it's another quick change, and the second discipline is the 20-kilometer bike ride. It's 2 laps. They say 20 kilometers. I think it's just under. It's about 18 kilometers. And in this particular stage, drafting is allowed. Drafting, well, that's taking pace for those of you who have not been following the sport of triathlon. Just like road racing in cycling, they're allowed to draft or take pace, sit on each other's wheels during this second discipline. We won't, I don't think, see the huge pelotons we see in bike racing, but we'll certainly see some wheel sucking. So it's Genselm and Conessa now setting the pace. Have been chased quite fiercely by Lessing. He can see them up in front, and Olivier Marceau is not far behind. They don't. I remember back in 88 when this was the European Championships. This bike course was really, really tough. They don't go out quite as far, and they don't climb the big hill as they did back then. But they're certainly they've got quite a climb. Jason Harper wears number 5. He's also of the assistant team. Look, they're all packing in there. They've got 3 or 4 of the assistant teams in there. Lessing, Genselm, Ben Bright is in there, and Jason Harper. So 2 Australians, and this is Genselm, the Frenchman, in the assistant team, with Lessing right behind him. Lessing trying to get a bit of a toe on him, taking some pace, taking some rhythm up the climb. You can see Genselm's doing all the work, and Simon Lessing is just sat in there. So Lessing, 25-year-old, lives down in Salon in the south of France. This is Olivier Marceau. He's the only guy actually to beat Lessing this year, and Lessing's first outing after he came back from California after spending the winter there. He came back and surprising for him, Marceau beat him. And Marceau has certainly had a great year this year. I don't think he has lost too many races. And Lessing realized that he is the biggest threat, and you can see Lessing goes with him, but he tries to make the break. So Lessing certainly got his head screwed on at the moment. He looks at the competition and knows exactly what he's got to do. So they're starting to bunch up at the front. We've got 4 or 5 guys up there. We've got Marceau, Blasco, Stephen Foster's also up there. Jason Harper was in there. Ben Bright was in that lead pack. I think Frank Clark is also up there, the Canadian, who did so well in the first year back in 1994. Frank Clark finished third. Black and white there, that's Stephen Foster, the current professional champion. The title he took away from Lessing because Lessing didn't compete. Sorry about the breakup of pictures, but when this race actually went out live, it was on French 3 on Saturday afternoon, and this is just a highlights package for us here on Eurosport. We've seen all 8 stages in our 1-hour broadcast today, so it's action-packed throughout, and it's certainly very competitive at the front of the field. This is Clark going over the top of the climb. Now it's quite a hairy descent. Fortunately, the roads are dry, so not many problems for them. So you can see they're all packing up there. Marceau, Janssen, Lessing, Foster and Clark in that lead group of 5. And it looks like someone's got a bit of a problem there. Someone's been blown out the side, whether it's a puncher or whatever, I'm not sure. We'll see if we can find out who that was. But Blasco is off the back end now as Olivier Marceau goes to the front with Foster, Lessing and Frank Clark on the back, number 65 there. One of the great Canadian athletes, racing on the Danon team, along with Darren Carnell of Australia, Walter Gea from America, Philip Coldray from America, Clark, and a couple of Canadians, Simon Whitefield and Stephen. So we're coming back in, and it's still Frank Clark in the picture there. He's leading back into the transition area, but I think the man to watch is also in contention. Lessing's there. So this is the second group. The first group is leaving, and you can see Lessing is right behind Olivier Marceau, with Carl Blasco also in the frame. So already Lessing is starting a cracking pace on the second, well, it's the first major stage. The final discipline is the run, and we've got 2 laps of 2.5 kilometers making up the 5 kilometers in all. You can see they're running over the sand in places here, and that's very tiring underfoot. And that's the last thing they want to do at this stage, or the first stage of the Iron Tour. But certainly Lessing looks extremely strong. I mentioned he's the Miguel Indurain of triathlon. I think he's won 5 world titles now. 3 senior at the Olympic distance, the short distance, 1 long distance from Nice last year. He didn't defend the title in Muncie, which was won this year by the Australian Greg Welsh, who in fact now is unique within the sport. He's won every world title. He's won the Olympic distance, the long course, he's won the Ironman world title, and he's won the duathlon world championships. No other athlete has won 4. Karen Smars, who also, like Welsh, won the long distance championships, has won the Olympic distance, the Ironman and the long distance. So that's a unique club of 2, but Welsh, well, he's by himself, as is Simon Lessing in the Iron Tour. Stage 1 to Simon Lessing. Well, Lessing really is putting the pressure on everyone at this year's event. 52 minutes and 44 seconds. Looks like Clark came through for 2nd position. And Carl Blasco, the Frenchman, took 3rd in front of his compatriot Olivier Marceau, with another Frenchman, Sylvain Daudet, in 5th position. So certainly the French piled them in, but unfortunately they were from different teams. So those are the overall classifications after stage 1. And going into stage 2, we'll take a short break.
There's a big world out there. Knowledge to gain, dreams to chase. other cultures to taste. Expand your horizons with an Astra satellite dish and join 24 million homes across Europe. The Astra satellite system. Astra, compatible with the future.
Hardy Krüger präsentiert Raubtiere, der gnadenlose Kampf ums Überleben. Die besten Tierfilme der Welt von Survival. Löwen, die Giganten der Steppe. Killer auf der ständigen Suche nach neuen Opfern. Eine fesselnde Bilddokumentation auf Video. Beginnen Sie Ihre Abenteuerreise mit Löwen. Zum Kennenlernpreis von nur 19,95 Mark. Rufen Sie an 0781 6453. Ihnen stockt der Atem, wenn Sie in weiteren Filmen blutrünstigen Krokodilen, Wölfen und Tigern hautnah begegnen. In einem Kampf ums Überleben, Auge um Auge. Rufen Sie jetzt an 0781 6453. Begleiten Sie Hardy Krüger auf den Spuren der Löwen jetzt zum Kennenlernpreis von nur 19,95 Mark. Holen Sie sich den Auftakt zu einer außergewöhnlichen Filmdokumentation, die es nicht im Handel zu kaufen gibt. Unter 0781 6453.
Ich schlage vor, Sie sehen sich das mal an. Ihr Hardy Krüger.
The world's top water skiers. The pinnacle of the sport. And Eurosport is there to capture all the action. The Water Ski Tour. The Water Ski Tour, Wednesday afternoon at 2:30 on Eurosport. With Café de Colombia.
Welcome back to the France Iron Tour. You're with Ian Sweet, and we're on stage 4. We've now moved right over to the edge of Switzerland and France. We're at Evian, and we're on Lac Le Mans. Some of us call it Lake Geneva, but the official name is Lac Le Mans. And at this time, we have, well, it's just short of the Olympic distance. It's a 1.3 kilometer swim in the lake. 35 kilometers of biking, 5 laps of 7 kilometers, so that could be pretty hairy. But drafting is allowed during this particular stage. And finally, an 8.5 kilometer run comprising 4 laps. Well, the starters had a bit of a problem lining them up. And in the past, we've seen the Frenchman, in fact, the French pair of Jean Selm and Conessa leading out of the water, with Lessing not far behind, and I suspect we'll see the same again. Oh, there we are. Jean Selm is leading. Jean Selm, where's number 2? He's of the team number 1, which is the assistant team, Simon Lessing's team, and they are in current pole position for the team award. And their number 1 athlete, number 1, Simon Lessing, is leading overall after the prologue and the opening 3 stages. So it's 1.3 kilometer swim, 1 lap, and you can see it's a sort of an out and back course, making up the 1 lap. 72 is Xavier Leflou of the Rennes triathlon team. He was well off the pace, but leading at the moment is Laurent Genselm, and Conessa is also in contention. Not too surprising, because he's been in contention every time so far, Vincent Conessa. And coming out of the water is Genselm, Conessa. Lessing is in 3rd position. There's Lessing just gone through the picture. It's a short run now up to the bike park and change for the second leg, 35 kilometers of biking. Ben Bright going through. Looks like Jason Meader's just gone through the picture as well. So the red and white strip of the assistant team to the fore once again. So it's now out onto the bike section. Someone having difficulty with his bike. Looks like Jenson there is having a problem. Well, it looks like Lessing has marshaled his troops again. Look at this. There are 3-4 team members in there, so he's certainly doing the business at the moment. He said it is very important. I was talking to him, and he said it's very important that the team do help you during certainly the bike stage, and he's taking full advantage of that at the moment. That's another team member of his. That's Lac Valmerhouse, the Australian. Remember that the assistant team is an Australian team, with Britain's Simon Lessing and France's Laurent Jensen making up the 6 team members of the assistant team. Just saw on the back there, number 75 was Simon Knowles. of the Rennes team. Number 3, that's Ben Bright. Number 2, the swimmer Laurent Jensen, the 24-year-old. Finished, 5th in the French Iron Tour last year. This is the HP Ista team. This is Andreas Niedrich. He's actually replaced Lothar Leder. Leder's decided not to race, preparing for the Hawaii Ironman. And in fact, I think there have been 3 or 4 changes of the HP Ista team. There's Joachim Franzmann, Christian Waller, Andreas Niedrich, Arndt Schomburg, Stefan Vukovic, and Ralf Eggert is number 46, making up the 6th member of the team. But it's still the assistant team setting the pace, and back into the bike park. It's their number 1 athlete, Simon Lessing. He is the number 1 on the French Iron Tour at the moment. And I think it's going to be tough to beat him now. He's building up, a couple of minutes overall in his lead. And at this rate, well, you can see he's just blasted away from the field, isn't he? He's broken that pack up. He's marshaled the troops during the bike section. There's Vukovic with the bowed head. And looks like Ben Bright is in there. This is Ralf Eggert just going out. Could be Simon Nose just going out right behind him. So quite a few of the HP Ista teams in there. The Danon team are also into contention. Rennes team are up there. Tricaston just going through a bit off the pace. But this is Lessing now. I mentioned it is 4 laps making up this 8.5 kilometers. Laurent Jensen is in 2nd position. Ben Bright in 3rd, and it looks like Jason Harper in 4th. So at the moment, it looks like it's 1, 2, 3. There's Richard Hobson. Captain Quad's just going through the picture. And he's been lapped now. Laurent Jensen is just coming up behind him, but no one can touch this man. This is the 28 or 25-year-old Brit, Simon Lessing. 33, that's Alexander Guillaume. But Lessing's coming home for yet another victory. So it seems, yeah, here he is. This is Simon Lessing. 1 hour, 46 minutes and 50 seconds for that particular stage. With Laurent Jensen in 2nd position, so assist on 1 and 2. And Ralf Eggert of the HP Ista team in 3rd position. So that'll do assistance cause a great deal of good. This is Gelson taking a well-earned break. Vukovic, he comes
best
through.
place so far in this tour. Last year I had several podium places, but this year the quality of the field is much more improved in comparison to last year. So I'm very glad to be on podium today on 3rd place. It was a very hard race for me. I had a quite big gap on the first group after the swim of minute 20, minute 25, and that's quite a lot. And so we worked in a big group, but the work wasn't that good, so well, we just could get in touch like 1 minute.
You never know. There's so many things that can happen during one of these races or one of these 8-day races that really you have to take each day as it comes and not expect too much, just focus on 1 day at a time. And I think if you do that and be careful and not expect too much, then usually things go your way. But there's so many things that can happen during one of these races that it's very difficult to say, well, I'm going to win this event.
Well, he's certainly doing the business at the moment, isn't he? That's Lessing. And he stretched his lead over Olivier Marceau in the general classification. He's now, he's 5 minutes up. 5 minutes and 5 seconds over Marceau and Jean Salm in 3rd position, and Dode down in 4th position. And the young German Eggert told us that it's much stronger this year and it's more difficult to do well. Well, that was stage 4, the 5th race in the series. Now we go into stage 5 of the French Iron Tour, and we're in Besançon for stage 5, and this is a sprint distance. They're calling it a sprint. It's a 1 kilometer downstream river swim, so that won't be actually 1 kilometer. We'll probably end up about 750 meters. And then we've got a 21 kilometer bike, 3 laps of 7 kilometers, and finally 5.5 kilometers of running, 2 laps to finish. So they're underway in Le Doubs. This is the river Doubs. And it's actually a very nice swim, because if you watch, you'll see a lot of spectators walking along with them. Both sides has a path, and it's very attractive to the spectator. And you can see once again the weather's been kind to the French Iron Tour. So stage 5, Besançon. And as we've seen previous in the Iron Tour, it's Laurent Jensen and Contessa, Vincent Contessa of Triathlon 8's team, setting the pace. Two of them now battling away. Lessing is in that group just behind, as he's done throughout the tour. I suspect we'll see Ben Bright in there with him as well. But it's John Selm of the assistant team, Lessing's assistant team, with the Contessa, the number 22 of the Triathlon 8's team, with him. So there we are, it's packed together. And this is where the weaker swimmers are quite enjoying it, because being a downriver swim, they don't lose so much. But they certainly can not stay with these two at the moment. These two really are battling. They're all over each other there, lad. They couldn't get much closer. The current's not that strong, but it is downstream. That's Lessing on the right of the picture there. With that, he flicks his arm out, his right arm out. You can always tell him. He's taken the shortest line in there, whereas the other two are going to the middle of the gantry. But this is, they really are battling away. That's Lessing to the far of the picture out there, with Jean-Seb and Conessa fighting their way out of there. Looks like Ralph Eggert's just gone through. So it was Jean-Seb, Conessa and Lessing into the bike park. Here we are. This is Lessing coming down through. He gets, he's got number 1 position right behind him. His fellow teammate of Jean-Seb, 1 and 2 on the, and their other team members. Looks like Jason Meters is there, Luke Lack-Valmahaus is there, Jason Harper's there. So all the assistant team are into contention once again. Tri-Caston. Max Fagan from Australia. That's the first sight we've seen of him. He's leading at the moment, but I don't think for much longer, does it? Look, Lessing goes by him like he's standing still. Number 13, that's Sylvain Daudet. So Daudet, the weaker swimmer, has had a good swim here. Well, it's been downriver. That was to his advantage. He doesn't lose that much on the other athletes. So if he gets a good bike, he's looking for his second stage victory. All the others have gone to Simon Lessing at the moment. Look at the pack here. Obviously, drafting is allowed under this in this particular sprint race. But Daudet is doing the business. Well, this is surprising. That was Conrad Stoltz of the Montpellier team. He's from South Africa. It's up there. He's got in second position at the moment in that lead pack of 4. Looks like Stephen Foster's caught up with them as well. So we've got Triathlon 8's in there. We've got a Danone team member in there. We've got one of the Rennes teams, Jacques Lepin, I think he's also in there. And the assistant team are getting together here. That's Lessing on the right. This is Benjamin Bright, having problems with his gears. So just to remind you, the assistant team, the Australian team of Bright, Meters, Valmahaus and Harper have been joined by Simon Lessing of Great Britain and the Frenchman Laurent Janselme. There we are. Look, they've slowed down considerably there into the big peloton. No one willing to make the break. But it looks as though Marceau tried to make the break. So we're back into the bike park, and Marceau's just come in by himself. So on that last lap, Marceau did get away a little bit. Olivier Marceau, who Lessing thought would be his main threat in this event. Well, they're coming in droves here, aren't they? This is Lessing at the front going through. Right beside him is Janselme as well. This is Ben Bright. So there are 3 team members in there. 64 is Simon Whitfield of Canada. So now it's the final 5-kilometer run. 114 was Gregory Lafarge of the Region Pass team. 46, that's Rolf Eggert with Lessing. And you can just see the leaders up front. It looks as though Marceau, should I say, has been, there's Marceau going through the picture. But Daudet's up there as well. So Marceau is in second position at the moment. Lessing's down in third with Eggert 4th. So the Frenchman Daudet really is showing his form. The 3,000 meter spin specialist on the steeplechase. He's gone under 9 minutes. He was the military champion last year. He's the current French duathlon champion. He's looking for his second victory on the 1996 French Iron Tour, and he's got it. Well, Daudet, that is surprising. just over 50 minutes and 38 seconds with Dode. Rolf Eggert's coming through to second place, so that's his best position on the tour. And Lessing is in third position, just a few seconds behind, 51.05. So he only lost 7 seconds on Eggert. But what's he done? Well, he had 5 minutes going into the lead on overall classification, so I don't think that's going to be too changed by Dode's effort. Well, Dode, second win on the tour. Overall, there we are, Lessing, Marceau, and Dode's in third position. Well, we'll take a short break, come back for the final 2 stages. Welcome back to the final stages, the final 2 stages of the 1996 France Iron Tour. We've now moved to Gérard Mer for a sprint distance event. Stage 6 is a sprint. That's a 750-meter swim, 2 laps of the barrage. And then we've got 20 kilometers of biking, another 2 laps, and we've got a big climb on the bike section. The Col du Haut de la Côte is the big climb on that bike section, and finally 2 laps of running, making up 5 kilometers of running to finish. And just to remind you, Lessing is leading in overall classification. He's won everything apart from 2 events. Well, he's with his team. The assistant won the team time trial, and Sylvain Dode, the Frenchman, has won 2 stages as well. So it's all building up quite nicely, but unfortunately for the other athletes, Lessing, just seen going through there, had a pretty big lead going into this final, or stage 6 at Gérard Mer. Conessa is leading, Vincent Conessa. He's led with Laurent Gensom on just about every other stage. Lessing has a look back there. I don't know what he's looking for. So just to remind you, 2 laps of the lake. This is a man-made lake. I think it's a big pit before. And used for building materials. So it's still Vincent Conessa. Lessing is in second position. Gensom third. Ben Bright is also in contention. He's back in, what, 4th position. And Olivier Marceau, who is chasing Lessing for the overall classification, is in 5th position at the moment. So Marceau really has to do something in these final 2 stages if he's going to take away the French Iron Tour title from Simon Lessing. So it's Conessa with Lessing right behind him. Gensom is third into the bike park. And now we've got the big climb, the Col du Haut de la Côte. For those of you who have watched this French Iron Tour on the last 2 occasions on Eurosport, you remember that they actually went up the Alpe d'Huez to finish the Iron Tour. Well, this year they don't go up the Alpe d'Huez. We finish in the beautiful town of Strasbourg. They've taken Alpe d'Huez out of the program. But talking to Lessing, he said this is tougher. We have something like 3 times as much climbing in these 8 stages. Just to remind you, back in 1994, it was 4 stages. Last year, it was 6 stages. And this year, it's 8 stages. So 8 stages in 10 days. Right in the middle, they had 1 day of rest between stages 3 and 4. That was 4 stages either side of the rest day. But this is Lessing now, showing us why he is leading the Tour de I was going to say the Tour de France, the French Iron Tour. Well, I suppose it is the Tour de France for triathlon. I don't know if the name Tour de France is patented and we're not supposed to use it. I've been told that. 22 is Vincent Conessa, the swimmer. There's Lessing going through. Laurent Gensom, also of the assistant team, with Vincent Conessa of the Triathlon X team in 3rd position. This is Marceau. It looks as though going past Ben Bright of Lessing's team. 76, that's Jean Roula, the current university's champion. Won it in Liberec in the Czech Republic earlier this year. And in fact, Spencer Smith raced there, but he raced the sprint distance and won that event. So they're gathering at the 4. Looks like we've got a bit of a group there. And did I see Rob Burrell in there? Looks like Rob Burrell has gone up there. But it's still Lessing pushing along at the moment. This is Lessing. You can see he's not finding it easy, is he? But he is setting the pace. This is Burrell. Yeah, I thought I saw him. This is Bobby Barrow. What, he's won 8 or 9 European titles. The evergreen Bobby Burrell. He's in his 3rd year of retirement. Yeah, I thought that was funny as well. He tells us every year he's retired, but he keeps coming out again. He said, well, what else can I do? I really do enjoy the sport of triathlon, so I'll keep going whilst I can compete. And he's certainly competing at the moment. Although Lessing's back in first with Olivier Marceau, the 2 favourites, Bobby Barrow is also in the 3rd position. So we're now out onto the final run. 5 kilometers, 2 laps, and once again, Lessing has shown the silky smooth action that's brought him so many titles in the sport of triathlon. He really is, in my opinion, the best runner in the sport. Dode might answer. question that, but of course triathlon is all about swimming, biking and running, and this guy can do it the best. This is Lessing now. The crowd are really warming to this man. He really is doing a tremendous, putting in a tremendous performance, as is Marceau, but he can't compete with Lessing. He's got to get something in the bag if he's going to go for him. Ben Bright is now in third position, as Lessing now is coming up towards the end, twice around the lake here. This is Lessing now coming up towards the finish. The 25-year-old Brit, born in South Africa, world champion of 1996, and he looks certainly going well at the moment to defend the title of the Iron Tour, which he's won on the last two occasions. Clark comes through into third position. What a run by the Canadian, 59 minutes and 12 seconds. Lessing's time, 58 minutes and 30 seconds. There we are, Lessing, Marceau and Clark. Well, Clark really did come through there. That's the overall classification for stage number 6. But the general classification still sees Lessing. What's he got? 5.5 minutes now going into the final stage. And the final stage this year is in Strasbourg. And we've got an Olympic distance, the short distance, whatever you want to call it, the classic distance, the triathlon distance. They've called it the Olympic distance, so I'll stick with that. 1,500 kilometers, 1.5 kilometers of swimming, 40 kilometers of biking, and 2 laps of the bike course, and finally 10 kilometers of 3 laps of running, making up the final third discipline. So we're in the Lac du Bagazet for the final stage, stage 7 of the 1996 France Iron Tour. Oh, I think you'll agree, this really has been an action-packed program. 8 days of racing in 1 hour. It's been pretty condensed, and it's been all action. Great stuff, exciting, and this is what triathlon is all about. So 1,500 meters of swimming, 1.5 kilometers, and surprise, surprise, it's still Vincent Conessa, Laurent Jancel, and Simon Lessing to the fore. Well, these three have shown some consistency in the swim section, and I suppose Conessa, if there is an overall swim prize, he would take it. There's Lessing in the white cap, just... someone commented to me, he does really have a slow action, but he's very, very powerful underneath the water. You look at the rhythm of the others, they're much quicker cadence in the swim, and Lessing just does a long, slow stroke, but he's does really come through the water. It's like Jason Meters right behind him, another one of the assistant team. So Lessing is in the position he loves to be, at the front, with Conessa, Jancel, and Ben Bright is also in there. Bobby Barrel had a good swim there, he's also in there. Stephen Foster, number 23. Carl Blondil coming out of the picture with his helmet hanging on the back end, so we're coming through. Lessing has a bit of a problem with his shoe. Got to sort that out before he jumps on his bike. Long run out here, out to the road for the 40 kilometers of biking, 2 laps. But this is Lessing now. Jason Meader's just gone through there. Ben Bright is there. Stephen Foster on the back end. Number 12, that's Carl Blasco with his teammate. Number 11, Olivier Marceau of the Poissy team. Second overall team position at the moment behind the assistant team. But leading overall is Simon Lessing. Looks like Lac Valmerhouse here. Look at this again, like the assistant team. They've got, what, 4 or 5 athletes in that lead group. And that's the difference for Lessing. Really, Marceau needs a little better team support. 75, Simon Knowes of Australia. He would love to be in that Australian assistant team. Perhaps next year he might well be. He might be 6 Australians. But I don't think they'll throw out either Jancel or Lessing because they're really to the fore. So we've got 4 assistant teams up in that lead pack with Stephen Foster of Triathlon 8's team. 2 laps making up the 2 laps of 20 kilometers each. So we're off the bike, and Bobby Barrel has come through again. Barrel's having another race. He's first off the bike. This is Jason Meters going through. Ben Bright is there. There's Lessing in, what, 5th or 6th position. Lac Valmerhouse is also up there. He's in the top 7. Wow, Rob Barrel, 38-year-old compared to 25-year-old Simon Lessing. Well, I was talking to Lessing once again, and he told me that this event kills you, but if you're not careful, or if you're lucky, you'll get fit as it goes on. And certainly Bobby Barrel is getting fitter as it goes on. He lost most of the winter running with an injury, but he's certainly showing it at the moment. Ben Bright, the youngster, the junior world champion a couple of years ago, has just eased past him. Bobby Barrel now. He's going to stick like glue behind him. Up front is Lessing, so it's Lessing, Bright, and Barrel at the moment. Well, this would be a great position if Barrel can hang on to third position. Ben Bright moves up with his teammate. They're both of the assistant team. I think Lessing maybe slowed a little bit. Let him come up to give him some help up there. He doesn't need to win because he's got such a dominant lead. He's, what, 5.5 minutes up. So, but I suspect Pride will come over towards the end and Lessing won't want to lose the race. But Ted Bright might have something to do with it. So we're coming up to the end, and once again, Simon Lessing of Great Britain, the South African Brit, is going to win. Wow, what a performance. Assistant 1, assistant 2 with Ben Bright in second place. And as Bobby Barrel held on, well, there's Burrell going through. Has anyone passed him? Burrell gets third position. What a great performance by Bob Burrell. Bit of a sprint here. That's Rolf Egger. Looks like Jason Meter, Simon Whitfield, Lack Volmouth, they're all up there. Wow, that's Simon Whitfield, number 64, has gone through. He was in, what, fifth position. Well, those are the classifications for the stage. They're coming in droves here. Tough finish, though, over the sand, as you can see. But overall, for the third consecutive year, it is Simon Lessing. What a race. Let's see what Egger has to say.
Also heute war es für mich ein sehr hartes
This time he's
Rennen
talking in
gewesen.
German. He said it was very hard for him today. I was tired. But the team did help me. We worked together, so tactically that was good. And they brought me, well, they brought me through, he said. They brought me through during the race, and without them I wouldn't finish third overall. But this Iron Tour, once again, was a great experience.
This year was hard because it was so long. I mean, the courses last year were probably harder, but because of the length of the Iron Tour this year that's what made it the hardest. And I mean, I just had one bad day, but on that day I lost 3-4 minutes, and it was way too much. I was in second, and then I was in 8th. So.
This is Marceau, second overall. He says, next year I hope to be closer to Simon, and I'd like to win a stage. Why not, he said. Anything's possible. He said Lessing had a very strong team with many good swimmers, and we have to change our tactics as a team if we're going to beat them. Well, I think that's certainly true. Well, there we are. Overall, it's Simon Lessing. His team, the assistant team, won overall as well. That's Lessing, Marceau, and Eggert, 1, 2, and 3. But certainly, the Miguel Indurain of triathlon is Simon Lessing. Assistant finishing overall team category in first position. Well, I hope you've enjoyed Eurosport's coverage of the French Iron Tour. Ian Sweet, wishing you well. See you next time on Eurosport.